Hi, friends. This reflection is for the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Going through the readings, I was mesmerized as I was seeing some of my closest friends to get to experience something of a lifetime that probably is not going to be seen for probably, say, the next generation or so of Catholics. I'm referring to the National Eucharistic Congress that took place, which the Pope asked for a revival. And this has been in the works for the last few years, and it came to fruition in Indianapolis recently. Now, as we look at the readings today, we hear about, the food, and we hear about the account of how Jesus, fed the thousands with only just 5 loaves and 2 fish, right? And I think if we look at it a little deeper, we understand that Jesus satisfies the hunger of our own hearts. And he can only do that through the Eucharist. It was just 5 years ago in 2019 when a survey went out that not many people believe that Jesus is truly present. The goal of the Eucharistic revival was to change the tides, and now we're seeing how that is now being reversed. Those of us who are following the recap of the Eucharist revival probably saw Jonathan Romy, the star of the Chosen series, wearing a shirt that if the Eucharist is a symbol, then the hell with it. That comes from a quote from Flannery O'Connor. And let's face it, the Eucharist is not a symbol. Instead, as Walter Chiswick reminds us, what a source of sustenance it was to us then, how much it meant to us to have the body and blood of Christ as the food of our spiritual lives in this sacrament of love and joy. He hits it right on the nose here. The Eucharist is a symbol of love and joy. You see, Jesus gave his body freely to us. This is my body, this is my blood. And what does he ask us to do? Do it in memory of him. Let's not forget what happened to us in 2020 when we were forced to stay home. Religious services and even the mass was canceled. Yet I thought it was needed now. It was needed well more than ever to help conquer this shadow government that brought to us a draconian lockdown. And let's face it, far too often our clergy has caved. But that could be a subject for a later video. If you were like me, I took part in the Lenten Challenge in which we cover the life of Walter Chiswick. And Chiswick talked about how he was deprived of spiritual food for 5 years. And of course, he was sentenced to prison because the Soviets love to spread, false news. They love to do all these things, just for their own gratification. In those 5 years, Father Chiswick was deprived of the spiritual food and the reality of that communion. But in its place, he turned to God in prayer. He made frequent acts of spiritual communion throughout the day. Does that sound familiar to us? Yeah, that. He hungered to be able to receive him once more. And he saw the Eucharist as a source of strength, that he long desired to receive it for 5 years. He saw it as the hunger of the soul, as real to him as a bodily hunger he constantly experienced through those years. And it was real. So you see, my friends, in today's society, we do hunger, right? But it's not, Chick-fil-A or something that could satisfy our hungry tummies. But we have hungry hearts. We are hungry for the truth. And the problem in our society today is people settle for the junk food. That needs to change. It begins when we encounter people where they are. Whether we got a chance to experience the events of Indianapolis recently, or we have a story to tell about our conversion, maybe our encounter with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. He wants us to fulfill people's hungry hearts. So, friends, are you hungry for the truth? Are you hungry for what is real in the most blessed sacrament? It will do more than satisfy what you hunger. You seek him, and he's waiting for you. God bless.